Hi everyone, this week's topic from the Effective Lifelong Learning Inventory is critical curiosity. And to prepare for class, we're going to watch this video where we'll just give an overview of what critical curiosity is. You'll have two different articles to read through to get a better understanding of that topic. There's a ticket into class to complete, which we'll take a look at, that includes a few activities and some reflection questions to get you to think more about this and how it relates to your own life. And finally, a tool called the What Why Ladder that we all can use to help us be more curious. So let's get started. So what is critical curiosity? I think everyone has a good understanding already of what curiosity in general means, what it means to be curious. But in terms of lifelong learning and the impact that has on us, I want you to take a look at the Effective Lifelong Learning inventory materials, and I'll have both of these in Angel. This just gives a really general definition on what it means to be the opposite of that, what it's all about, what the research says, and some typical behaviors of someone who's critically curious. And also there's a really great article that I put in there called The Hungry Mind, Intellectual Curiosity is the Third Pillar of Academic Performance. And in that article, the researchers talk about three things that really are key, have a key impact on someone's academic performance, how well you do, which in turn would impact your success. And they talk about intelligence, effort, and how curious a person is. So if you think about that, someone can be really smart but not put in a lot of effort, and that can impact how well they do on something. But also someone can be really smart, can put in a lot of work but not be curious in the ways that show a very strong and engaged mind, and that can also impact your scores and how well you do. It's not just about copying and pasting, but it's about also putting your mind towards something. And so I think this article is just really powerful in that regard, and that the hungry mind, or someone who's curious, is one of the things that can make a big difference in somebody's success academically. And I'm just going to come out here and show you those articles real quick. Read this one. This is the LA one, and this is short, so read through this really well so you have a good understanding of what they're talking about in terms of curiosity. And then the article gets very technical at the end, so I'm going to say, you don't need to read the whole thing. I want you to read it pretty closely through the beginning where it's explaining the background. But when it gets down to the study and they're talking about the methodology, you don't need to worry about that. You may also want to skip to the end and look at the practical implications at the end. So skip through that methods part, and concentrate at the material at the beginning and then again at the end. And I think you'll find it very interesting. So if you read both of those with a mind to completing the first part of your ticket in the door for class, which is then to do a CI for critical curiosity, which, as you know, is one of the vocabulary strategies we've used to kind of get our arms around these bigger concepts that we talk about in class. So just as a refresher, CI stands for state it, elaborate, exemplify, and illustrate. And the red shows you the sentence starters that we've used to complete each part of the CI. And so for this week, we're going to be doing critical curiosity. I put this example here from one we've done in the past on creativity, just in case you can't remember what we did. So the stated is the formal definition, and this is something you can take from either the Ellie form or from what you get in the Hungry Mind article. So you would have critical curiosity is, in this case I have creativity is, and I have that formal definition. The next one, to elaborate, this is something you should then restate in your own words, right? So you're really making it your own in this step. In other words, creativity is, and then I put in my own words what I felt that was. The third one is exemplify. So you come up with an example of creativity. And the third one, and for you, you'll be doing critical curiosity, and then the last one is illustrate. So this is a metaphor. You can do it with words or with a drawing. So you're using the phrase is like. So creativity is like, and I put a muscle to get stronger the more it's used. So I want to show you, so you'll do that now for critical curiosity. And I want to show you that ticket in the door. So and this will be an angel. So you put your name here. Here's the first part that you're going to do. So there's stated, elaborate, exemplify. And I want you to use two examples here. One from the world, so an example that you've seen on the news, with people you know, in the newspaper, on the web, but not your own life. And then the second is an example that you can identify from within your own life and then illustrate it. So you're going to complete that. Just to kind of solidify that definition and your understanding of what is critical curiosity. And then, as we've done for every one of the dimensions, it's time to reflect. So you're going to reflect on yourself, on your experiences, on the difference that being a stronger or more curious person can make in your life. So that's the next thing you're going to do on the ticket in the door. So the first reflection, which you'll see here in the ticket, which starts with number 2. This next section starts with 2A, B, and C. And I want you to think about your spider diagram. So your own scores on Ellie. How did you score on critical curiosity? And as we always say, you know, this is just something on a particular day you thought about yourself in terms of how curious you are. So today you may feel like that's not true to you and who you are, and that's fine. That's what I want you to think about. That you don't just take this at face value. You think about it and say, well, in this particular instance, this person is about halfway between not at all like me and very much like me. And so they perhaps have some room to grow in terms of being more curious. Right, so I want you to think about, do you agree or disagree with the diagram in that dimension and why? And then the next thing I want you to think about or to answer these other questions in the reflection. In general, put a number on it. How curious of a person do you think you are on a scale of 1 to 100, where 100's super curious and 1 is not at all? And then I want you to describe what you do when you are engaged in an area in your major, work within your major, when you're engaged in an area of interest that's not related to school, say a hobby or anything else you do that you're extremely interested and curious about. Think about specific behaviors that you're doing in your mind and also externally that if someone were looking at it would say, oh wow, look, that person's being curious, right? So what are some examples of those specific behaviors? I want you to think about those things and list those behaviors. And then, as we do with everything, it's time to think about the flip side. So we think about where we're strong in those areas, and now it's time to think about where we could actually, where it would help us to change. So it's not always, and we're moving down to letter D here. We can't be curious about everything all the time. We wouldn't have time to live, right? So, but there are probably ways that we all have. There are things that impact us in a negative way that if we were more curious could actually improve our lives. So for example, right now, you're a student, you have to take lots of gen ed courses and lots of different subject areas, and maybe you're interested and maybe you're not. And the courses where you're struggling, right, or because you're just not interested perhaps, that can really negatively impact you. Maybe you stop going to class, you stop doing the assignments, and that's bad news, right? So sometimes it's helpful to have tools that help us be more curious even when we're naturally not that way, right? And so I want you to identify, it doesn't have to be school, it can be anything. Think of an example for yourself where something's negatively impacting you, and if you were more curious, it could improve your life. So I want you to think about that, and then I want you to imagine what you had the magic wand and all of a sudden you are more curious about that thing. Describe the new you. How would that new you act, react? What would you do in that situation as a critically curious person? You could use some of the ideas you mentioned above in letter C. What are you doing and thinking when you're really engaged and curious and interested? And how is this different from the current you? And are these differences important? How would it make a difference if you were able to change this particular thing about yourself? So that's what I want you to do for those reflections. Where are you strong? Where could you change? And then lastly, the last one is the what, why ladder, which is a really good tool you can use when you just need to force yourself to be more curious about things. So it's just a series. You ask a what question. So for example, what's your favorite travel destination? What's the answer to that? I love to go to the shore. Follow that up with a why question. Well, why do you love to go to the shore? I just have lots of happy family memories. I love to be in the ocean. It feels very free. There's no stress there. I love the food. But why do you love? Why is family important? Why, right? So you can see. You ask a what question, you follow it with a why, you follow that with a why, and so on. And that helps you drill down in a deeper way into a topic. So I want you to do that in your getting ready for class ticket in the door. And this one is really getting you ready for what we're going to do in class together, which is a what, why ladder using the question, what makes it so hard for you or others to speak up or speak in front of your classmates? And then I want you to do the what, and then drill down with as many whys as you can get to. Well, why? Well, why? Well, why? Okay? And so, getting ready for class, I want you to do the readings. I want you to complete the activities on the ticket in the door. I want you to finish that up with the what, why ladder. And really think about that as a tool you could use in ways and areas where you're not so curious. And then you'll be ready for what we're going to do in class, which I hope you're going to find is a lot of fun. So we will see you in class.